Hey guys, back with another video for you today. Today we're going to be talking about ambiguous endings. It's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, actually, because it's a weird thing to think of it. Because so many different films utilize ambiguous endings, and if done right, it could add amazing emotional depth to your story, but if done wrong, it could detract and just leave audiences confused and wondering why you did it. So I've narrowed it down to two things to determine how people do ambiguous endings. There's closed-ended and there's open-ended. What I'm going to do is I'm going to explain each of them to you and give you a good and a bad example from each. First one is open-ended. Open-ended ones are ones that they give you an ambiguous ending and you don't really... There's 1,000 different ways you can take it of what it means. And it could add a lot of depth because it can show you, all these different timelines that it could have gone through, all these different instances that could have happened. However, if you do it wrong, it could subtract from any depth your story had by just saying, fuck all and screw you. A bad example, boy, I'm going to get backlash, is 2001: A Space Odyssey. If you're unaware, at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey, you know what? I forgot to give you a spoiler warning. Giving spoiler warnings for 2001: A Space Odyssey, Inception, Loki, and Joker. Alright, cool. Now we got it out of that way. The first bad example is 2001: A Space Odyssey. At the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey, for people who are unaware, basically, he gets turned into a space baby. That's the best way I can put it. He goes into the... Was it Star Cube or some shit? I forget what it was called. Star something. And he goes into that. He becomes an old man inside of it. All right, and then he gets turned into a space baby at the end, and they're like, look at this guy. And it could have been cool, I guess, but they didn't suggest what it could mean. There was no previous setup for what space babies are, or if that's even what they're called. That's what I call them. And so it sort of subtracts any depth that the story had because they don't... It's so ambiguous that's pointless. You have no idea what they're trying to convey with that. To the point where a whole lot of people just try and make up their own endings. Stanley Kubrick initially said that part of the purpose of that ending is to actually get people to sort of craft their own ideas of what could have happened, and that's not what an ambiguous ending should do. Now, a good example of doing open-ended ambiguity is from the Joker. This one works because it's trying to convey something. At the end, obviously, he wakes up at the insane asylum, and we are left wondering how much, if any, of what happened in the story actually happened. It works because the director is trying to convey something to us. The writers are trying to convey something to us. They're trying to get us to think about how crazy Joker actually is, if this stuff happened, if it didn't, what's going on, etc. And so when it does that, it gives us a reason to care. It makes us think. It's not like 2001 where you just leave the theater thinking, what the fuck just happened? In this one, you actually get an idea. You get the you get the pieces. You get the pieces of the puzzle, and you have to try and connect them yourself to draw a conclusion. And the reason why it's good is because there's 1,000 different ways you could take the conclusion, sure, but you're still going to get at a conclusion. It's just not just, So, there's that. Now, that's open-ended. A good closed-ended ending, however, we could say is, I don't know, Loki. Wait, no, that's bad. Did I say it was good? I don't know. The point is, it's bad. Alright, it just is. Loki is a good show, but it failed to deliver on the ending. Especially Season 2. I thought Season 2 as a whole was very strong. However, at the end where he just connects all the timeline branches into a tree and just stands there with them, it doesn't really make any sense. Now, this may appear off the top as open-ended, but it's really not, because even though you might be able to take 1,000 different timelines, because that's literally what's happening, basically there's two options. Either the timeline is great or it's fucked, and there's really no in between. So basically what I'm trying to say here is that they're not pointing us in a direction, really. They're just saying he connected all these time things together into a tree. And it doesn't make sense from a logistical standpoint either, considering the fact that it was explained in the first episode that we can't just widen the thing because they'll continue making infinite timelines until they just all explode. So how is he connecting all of them, first of all, when his hand is a limited size in and of itself, when there's an infinite number of them? And two, like I said, it's not pointing us in a direction. It's just like, hey, there's a time tree. It's like, okay, cool. But, like, what's it matter? And so I feel like if they explained a little bit more what the time tree represented, that could be good, but they didn't. They just said time trees exist now. Deal with it. Additionally, we don't know how he got this power. He just gets it for no reason. We don't understand why he's able to do this. Most people can't. He's the god of mischief. Why is he able to connect times into a time tree? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I've rambled on long. Enough about that. The good example I want to talk about is from Inception. Inception is weird. Basically, what I love about this ending is that it shows us two different possibilities. This is pretty much my example of a perfect closed-ended, ambiguous ending. Because we see him spin the top and then go talk to his kids. And then the camera pans back to the top. And it's still spinning. And towards the end of the shot, it begins to wiggle a little bit. And then it cuts. And we don't see any more. This is a great way of displaying the, is it spinning? Right? Because whether or not a top is spinning should be objective, but because they cut the camera before it could continue to topple, we're left not really knowing. Because we see the top spinning, and then it becomes to topple a little bit, but then the camera cuts and we don't see the rest. So we're left wondering whether he's dreaming or whether it's real. Because it was established earlier in the film that if the top is spinning, that means he's dreaming, and if it topples, then that means he's awake. So we don't know. And the reason why this is good is because it does point us in a direction. It's saying, is he dreaming or is he not? It adds depth because we don't know exactly what happened to him. If it just spun forever, we'll be, fuck, he's dreaming. But if it topped all the way, we're like, oh, okay, cool, we're good. But because it toppled a little bit, we don't know. And that's what makes this scene so incredible. Because we don't know for sure, and it adds depth. It doesn't take away. That's the problem with these endings. When you're doing ambiguity, if you do it right, it adds depth, but if you do it wrong, it takes away depth. Which is why it's so important to get right. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm going on vacation on Saturday. Not on Saturday, on Sunday. I don't think I'm going to be uploading any new videos between now and then, partially because I don't have any glaring ideas of videos I want to make. This was one I wanted to make for a while. I don't know if I said that at the beginning. It really has been, because it's a funny thing. And so I wanted to get this out here before I left, but I don't think I'm going to publish anything else before I go. And so I'm obviously not going to be uploading anything while I'm on vacation, besides maybe, an occasional Gang Beast clip short, more brain rot, stuff like that, because I'm going to be bringing my Xbox, because the Outer Banks is boring as fuck. At least to the part of the island we go on. So that's all I got for you today. I won't be uploading any videos, at least for like 9 days. But maybe after that I will. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks.